Learn English through stories. Today we are going to listen one story. Story name is The Crows and the Owls. There was an old banyan tree in a forest. Many crows lived in the tree. At some distance from the banyan tree, there was a cave. Many owls lived in it. At night, life would become miserable for the crows. They would hardly go to sleep in their nests when the owls would attack them. The owls killed many crows and their babies and even destroyed their eggs. This became a daily routine for the cruel owls. The king of the crows convened a meeting of all the crows. He said, "Every night, the owls attack us and kill many crows. We must think of a way to save ourselves from their terror. The owls live in a cave, which has only one opening. Hence, it is as safe as any impenetrable fortress. After harassing us at night, the owls hide in their cave. So we cannot attack them. Now, what should we do?" Each of the ministers had a different advice to give to the king. But no advice was good enough to solve the problem. At last, the king asked an old and experienced crow who was also present at the meeting. The old crow said, "When the enemy is mightier than us, it is not advisable to attack them directly. We must remain calm and keep an eye on their movements. We must find out their weak point. And then after preparing ourselves thoroughly, we should attack them." Everybody liked the old crow's advice. Suddenly, a crow said, "But who will go into the cave to spy on the owls?" The old crow said, "Leave that to me. First, I want all of you to pretend to fight with me. I want you to peck me, wound me badly and then leave me alone." As planned and advised by the old crow, all the crows began to peck him and thus, wounded him seriously. They then left him half dead and went away. The old crow was bleeding profusely. With great difficulty, he reached the cave where the owls lived. He was writhing in pain. He cried, "O King of the Owls! I have come to you for refuge." The owls were surprised to hear these words. How can one go to one's enemy for refuge? They wondered. The king of the owls thought, "I must listen to what this crow has to say. Perhaps, I may come to know of their secrets." When the king of the owls came out of the cave, he saw the old crow bleeding profusely and writhing in pain. The king asked him, "Aren't you scared of owls? Why have you come to me for refuge?" The old crow said, "If I had not escaped from there, the crows would have killed me. I had advised them to surrender themselves to you because you are mighty. And this is what I get for giving them the right advice. You may refuse to give me shelter. Or you may kill me if you like. The choice is yours. But I must tell you that if you give me refuge, I will help you to kill the crows." The old crow succeeded in tricking the owls into believing his story. They gave him refuge and invited him to stay with them in the cave. The old crow thanked the king of the owls and said, "If I live in the cave, the crows might suspect me. Besides, I am from the enemy camp. I will live in a nest outside the cave. The crows fear you and so they will not dare to come near the cave." Thus, the old crow began to live outside the cave. The owls would feed him every day. Gradually, the old crow started collecting dry twigs and leaves near the cave. "Poor crow," thought the owls. "He is collecting twigs and leaves to build a nest for himself." After a few days, there was a big heap of dry twigs and leaves outside the cave. One day, the old crow noticed that there was a fire nearby. Since it was daytime, the owls were in the cave. The owls cannot see during the day. So this is a good opportunity for me, said the old crow to himself. Thinking thus, the old crow flew to the banyan tree. He bowed to the king of the crows and said, "The time has come for us to attack the owls. I have made a heap of dry twigs and leaves at the mouth of the owl's cave. I saw a fire at some distance from the cave. We will go there. Pick up some burning twigs and throw them in the heap outside the cave. All the crows at once flew to the spot where there was a fire. The crows picked burning twigs in their beaks and threw them in the heap outside the cave. Soon there was a big fire at the mouth of the cave. Besides, the wind was also blowing in the direction of the cave, and so the smoke went inside. The owls began to suffocate due to the thick smoke, and soon the flames also reached inside the cave. It being broad daylight, the owls could not see anything. They began to fly out to save themselves from being suffocated to death. But when they reached the mouth of the cave, they fell in the big fire. The cave was filled with the cries of the owls who were burned to death. The ones who were still inside were suffocated to death. The crows had won. They began to caw with joy. Cav, cav, cav.
Great video. Mom.
Yes.
I found the good channel for study.
Great. Like the video, share it to your school friends. Subscribe to it. But what's the channel's name?
Wings of Fire Academy.